on top of me. I shook my head. Focus, Elin. What did a little change or two matter? I took a steadying breath and reminded myself that the tennis stayed the same. The previous point had been decided with a furious rally, and I'd won when a last desperate lunge was backhanded into the net. I'd waited politely for my opponent to pick herself up and dust herself off. Her once pristine white t-shirt, mostly sweated through like my own, bore green marks and sandy smears from where she'd hit the ground. I wiped at my own shirt in sympathy, ball for my next serve already in my hand. I only had 25 seconds to make the serve, so I bounced the ball straight down at my feet. 1, 2. The weight of it felt familiar against my palm, fresh from its precisely chilled can, in peak condition for being hammered against the ground just as hard as either one of us could hit it. I closed my eyes for just a second and waited for the feeling to settle over me. Sure enough, it came rolling in just like the tide. I'd done this before, maybe 1,000,000 times. I released the ball upwards. No blue sky above it that time, just the industrial surface of the closed roof. No matter. My other arm was already in motion, the movement as natural as breathing. With the kiss of contact, my serve was unleashed. Not my hardest or fastest, but the women's game wasn't dominated by serve prowess in the same way as the men's. I could have risked serving an ace, effectively a shot that no mortal player should have been able to return. Aiming exclusively for those could lead to double faults, though, and so it was a calculated choice each time. I could barely feel my racket in my hand. It was an extension of my arm by now. No matter how many different ones passed through my bag and my palm every day, every week. The custom grip I'd been using, since I was 14 and still playing in the juniors, was molded to the exact bends of my fingers, and the calluses I developed always fit within its grooves, like a wedding ring worn for years, but still felt after it had been removed. So too did I have my own phantom accessory, the slight heft of the graphite frame always with me, even when I was far from the court or a kit bag. We hit another long, hard rally, and I felt a twinge of complaint in my right calf as I stopped short to win the point. Damn, that would have to be looked at to make sure it didn't develop into a proper strain. Or worse, an actual muscle tear. For a moment, as I moved to serve again, I realized that I didn't actually have to. Somehow, in all the years I'd been playing, it never occurred to me that the entire act of playing in a match was voluntary. If I set my racket down right then in that moment and walked off court, no one could have stopped me. Fortunately for my wandering thoughts, I had been drilled too well by my coach over the seasons. Countless sessions with my therapist had focused on moments like these. Now, in that final stretch of a match, I knew I had the stamina and technique to win almost by default. How hard that was usually came down to my opponent, and that was when I realized my real advantage. It was bad form to admit it, to even think it in the first place, but ask anyone who ever won a tennis match, and they would nod in recognition. The two of you were out there, alone, in effect, despite the umpire and the line judges and the kids who chased the loose balls around. That was what the world shrunk down to. One person competing against another, with only one winner possible. What any winner could have admitted, confessed, really, was that at some point on the road to victory, they could see their opponent settle for defeat. That moment, seeing the loss in their eyes even as they stared defiantly back over the net, that was what kept me going, made me want to compete and bring home as many trophies as they could throw at me. Maybe I should have said something humble about playing for the love of the game, but it would only have been a lie.